What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikiPikaPapa, and I think we can safely say we're back to an awesome spot in this Movers and Shakers video series that we do every single Sunday here on this channel. So what this is this is a list of cards that TCGPlayer has sent out to us and said, listen, you all need to be paying attention to these cards because these things are absolutely flying off the shelves on our website, and there is just big things going on behind the scenes. And you know how much I love it whenever a website like TCGPlayer will share that information with us. Obviously, it's one of the biggest buying and selling platforms for Pokemon cards, so whenever they share that type of data and information and trends with us, I'm like, hey, we all need to be paying attention to it. Now, outside of last week, I'd say the previous 5 or 6 weeks before that, we had seen tons of Scarlet and Violet illustration rare cards on there because, as we all know, they've been going through a high degree of pumping. There have been lots and lots of those cards which have gone from $10, $15, $20, hitting that $30, $40, $50 range, and TCGPlayer was right. They were selling with a high degree of velocity on their website, so they deserve to be on this list. But as we kept going through that, I kept saying, man, I would be approaching these with a high degree of trepidation. They feel a little bit like Icarus getting too close to the sun here, and I could see them coming back down to earth. Now, that doesn't discourage anybody from buying them. If you love the artwork, you love the card, do what makes you happy in this hobby. But from a pure long-term collecting and investing standpoint, I was simply saying, let's hold off a little bit and see what happens. We got a whole lot of more sets to come out, and we got what I think is a lot more printing to come as well. So with that being said, last week we started to get back to what we saw in the early days of this Movers and Shakers video series. We saw cards from all kinds of different eras. We saw XY, we saw Sun and Moon, we saw Sword and Shield, we saw some awesome cards on it. And this week we're going to see some awesome cards again. And I'm super pumped because this is really cool. Again, I love seeing what collectors are doing on the back end at a high level. I love it when I can actually see where people are choosing to spend their money, and this list has some awesome cards on it. So before we get into the 5 cards that are moving and shaking the most on TCGPlayer over the last 7 days, if you get into it, if you find value, if you're having a blast along the way, hit that subscribe button or give us a thumbs up. Those 2 small things go a long way in helping my small channel out, and I really appreciate it. So the best way to start this list off is with a card that I think is absolutely fantastic. This Blastoise and Piplup right here. This is a tag team card from Cosmic Eclipse. Now, I don't know if you've been paying attention to this or not. Probably not, because Sun and Moon as a whole is flying under the radar, but Sun and Moon cards have been going nuts, specifically in Cosmic Eclipse. It seems like every card in Cosmic Eclipse is going absolutely batty right now, and I've been doing a video where I'm looking at the 10 cards under $20, right? I just got done talking about all the Scarlet and Violet cards that I think are a little frothy right now, so I thought, well, let's look at some cards that are under that $20 threshold that might have some opportunity, and a bunch of cards are in that Sun and Moon series because I think Sun and Moon is flying under the radar, but this card is no longer under the radar. Look at the way this thing has grown over the last 3 months. It is up 85%. I mean, stunning artwork, huge name Pokemon with Blastoise there at the very top, and it's all the way up to $30.68, and it combines everything that I love. It combines awesome art, big name Pokemon and Blastoise, and one of the biggest sets from the Sun and Moon era, which is Cosmic Eclipse. So there's not much not to like about this card. Really cool one to kick off the start of this list, and we've got some stunners more to come along the way. So coming in at number 2 from Twilight Masquerade, we got the Tatsugiri card right here, and this was a card I think people either loved it or hated it in the very beginning. I don't think there were very many people who were on the fence about it. I think it's a very unique artwork. Obviously, it's kind of childish. I'll tell you what, my kids saw it and they absolutely loved it, which makes my heart grow like 10 sizes because that's what this hobby is all about. So my kids love this card, and it's been interesting to see what happens with this card from a price perspective. So I always explain this, that bright blue line that goes around that tracks how the price has moved over time, and those light blue bar graphs, those represent sales volume over a period of time. These are representing a week at a time, right? So you see how we've had these periods where the sales volume has really spiked, right? Back around 222, you see that somebody or a group of people went on TCGPlayer and literally bought 200 copies of this card, probably went on TCGPlayer and bought all of them that were for sale there. Then they relist them, or maybe they hold on to them. Who am I to say officially what they do? I don't know, but they could possibly relist them at a higher price after they bought all of the stock out and hopefully make a profit on it. Now, What's interesting about this card is you see the prices continue to go up ever since that big purchase event. And then there was another one you see recently over the last week where about 130, 140 copies were purchased. And again, you see the price spike up after that. So we'll have to wait and see if this can hold on to that $30 price point. Again, I challenge you, like, go back and look at Sword and Shield, go back and look at Sun and Moon. There's a lot of really awesome cards in that $30 price range. So we'll just have to see if this one can hold on to it. But it's been interesting to see kind of the sales volume and how the price has been moving in this card. Now, next one on the list right here. Okay, listen. Temporal Forces has Raging Bolt and Iron Crown, and you know that those were two of my absolute favorite pieces of art from the entire Scarlet and Violet era. I don't know why it goes against a lot of what I love, but for whatever reason, I really love the artwork of those cards. And then Prismatic Evolutions has to go and drop this Raging Bolt, which I actually like better than the other one. And this card has been on absolute fire ever since it came out, which, let's be honest, most Prismatic Evolution cards have been. I've been trying to keep them off this list, but the combination of the artwork that I enjoy so much, the combination of the price growth here, I had to include it, right? And it started off at $90 when it came out. You see the sales volume has been really strong, and the price has just continued to grow. It's all the way up at $160. And again, I've been beating the drum on this one. There are so many cards in Prismatic Evolutions that are over that mystical $100 price point right now. It is going to be fascinating, let's say in a year, to look back and see how many of those cards have been able to maintain that north of $100 price point. That is just so much money for an ultra modern Pokemon card. But if any set can do it, I think it's Prismatic Evolutions. They've got a great lineup of characters. They've got awesome artwork. It's just the demand is through the roof. So we're going to have to wait and see. But this one absolutely is worthy of being on this list, up 77% in like the last month. Absolutely wild at $160. Now, next one is one from Twilight Masquerade. So we've had two cards from Twilight Masquerade on this list, and this is the Perrin card, okay? And we haven't seen this happen very often, at least in these ultra modern series, right? If you look back to Sun and Moon, you've got Lily, right? You've got a couple trainer cards in the Sun and Moon era specifically that performed really, really well, okay? But we haven't seen it as much in Scarlet and Violet, and we certainly didn't see it in Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield went through a period where the trainers were really pumped, right? I think it was when everybody realized that the Japanese versions were super hyped, and so we thought maybe that would transition to the US, but no matter what, those cards have come back down, and we haven't seen this type of price growth. But listen, the Perrin right here from Twilight Masquerade is up 80% over the last 3 months, and what's interesting is the purchase volume has actually been trending down a little bit, right? The sales volume, that blue bar graph that we were talking about a lot, the volume has been coming down and the price has been going up. So it's going to be interesting to see. That's kind of the opposite of what we traditionally see. So it's going to be interesting to see how long this card can hold on to that $100 price point. I mean, the artwork, I love the artwork, but it just doesn't jump off the page at me. So it doesn't matter what I think. The market has spoken, and at least for right now, the market says this is a $100 card. So really, really cool card. Love having it on the list, and it's nice to at least see a trainer get a little bit of TLC. And then the final card on the list is actually a card that was on the list last week for the Movers and Shakers video, and this is the exact slide that was the last week one, okay? So this is the Reshiram and Zekrom. Obviously, you have N there on the very front. We all know that N's Reshiram is going to be a huge promo card that is coming out with Journey Together. That's what's driving all of this excitement. And last week, this card was on there due to the sales volume, and it was at $240. And when I saw it on the list again, I was like, we have to do a week-over-week comparison, because over the last 7 days, this thing has gone from $200 to $262. I mean, think about that. We're talking about a 7-day span. This card has gone up another $22 in price, considering 3 months ago, this was a $110, $115 card, and now it's all the way up to $262. It just goes to show you that if you can identify some of these popular Pokemon, popular cards, popular trends just a little bit before they hit the market, you have an awesome opportunity to see some really cool gains. And I will say this again is from Cosmic Eclipse, right? This is a great card from a great set. So I think this has the opportunity where we see a lot of cards that kind of go up in price and then eventually come back down. This is one where I think it might not stay all the way up there. Like, I don't know if this can hold a $300 price point, but I do think it has the opportunity to at least retain a lot of these gains somewhere into the future. Not all of them, but at least some of them. So that's it. This is a ton of fun. I love this video series. I love what's seeing going on at the macro level of the hobby. I hope you had fun too. And if you did, hit that subscribe button or give us a thumbs up. But most importantly, have an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. See you later, everybody. Bye.